But let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about crafting a mobile campaign. I'm going to give you the perspective of some local advertisers. One really small guy, one not so small group. And green button. There. Oops, let's go back. Here we go. Pete's going to make fun of me later because I have a pizza example. Every one of my presentations seems to have a pizza example. And I know I'd really like pizza. So I go to DeSalvo's a month ago, sit down and notice a table tent that says text DeSalvo's to 91944. I always do this. I always text in. I don't have the same experience with every place I do this. This is the first restaurant that has actually sent me offers. And so over the past month, I've noticed several times a week, about 3 to 4 times a week, I get a message. It's always something that is today only. It's usually something for 16 to 17 bucks. Come in, get 2 chicken parms for $16.99, today only, cash only. This restaurant wants you to spend your greenbacks. So I said, you know, they must be getting people in. They wouldn't bother to do this 3 to 4 times a week. So last week, when I was preparing for this presentation, I trekked down to DeSalvo's to ask how it's going for them. So I talked to Mark, the owner, and he said, yeah, we've been doing this for about 4 months. It's working pretty well. I said, well, tell me some specifics. And I said, how do you get people to sign up? He said, well, we have the signs in the store, and we're really aggressive. We ask everybody to go ahead and text in. I said, okay, so how many do you have? And at first, he thought he had 500. Then he looked it up on his computer. He goes, I have 894. So a little bit about DeSalvo's. They have 2 locations, 4 miles apart. And I asked him to tell me about the platform. So they pay $300 a month between the 2 locations. So each one essentially is paying $150 each. It's a company called YourAreaCode.com that approached them 4 months ago and said, we've got this great system, online ordering, social networking, and mobile marketing all in one. He hasn't even tried the online ordering yet, but he's definitely using the mobile marketing. And every time he sends out a message, it immediately updates to his Facebook and his Twitter. He has about 500 people as Facebook fans, and he has 7 on Twitter. I don't know why they haven't figured out Twitter. I'm one of the 7, so clearly they don't have much reach there. And I said, okay, so most of the meals that I see coming through are 17 bucks. I said, so people obviously buy drinks, maybe they get an appetizer, they're spending 25, 30 bucks? And he said, yeah, pretty much. And I said, well, how many people come in? And he gets 10 offers back, on average, he says, every time he sends out a message. And I said, okay, well, that's 250 bucks a night. I said, yes, it is. And he's very excited. And I said, okay, so you do this 4 times a week, and that's $1,000 a week. And this is a mom and pop pizza place. And he's nodding, and he's very, very, very happy. And I said, have you ever had this before? He said, no, never. And I said, so you started 4 months ago. Right now, you've got almost 900 people on a list, and you're making, on average, an extra $1,000 a week, $4,000 a month. And he said, yes. Summer's typically slow. This summer was not slow. In fact, my August sales were up 17% over last year. I was floored. And he's paying $300 a month, split between 2 stores. They're getting the same results at the other store. And that's just an example of someone that's converting his own existing business into bringing him more money. He's not running this in outside media. It's just his regular customers coming in more often. So my next example is of a radio station that's doing something very similar. We have, I am missing a slide. No, I'm not. Okay. They have a database. This is a radio station that for about a year has been building a mobile database. And this is what Connie was talking about with addressable market. This is a database that someone can buy in order to reach people via SMS on their cell phone. In about a year's time, it's a large market. about a year's time, they've built 30,000 addressable people via SMS. They do this through contests. Text in so-and-so celebrity's name to this number to enter to win. And that's how they've done it. So let's talk about how they're using it. They have about 3 different ways, primarily, that they send messages through this database. The first way is programming. We have such and such celebrity at noon with our DJ, listen in. And then those messages are usually brought by a sponsor. So let's just say Verizon sponsors this message that goes out. The second way is to drive traffic to a retailer. Now, he said that they did this for years with just on-air announcements. But in the last year, combining that with SMS, they've been able to drive a lot more traffic than they ever have before. Usually, when they have a go to a location for free tickets promotion, this station charges $4,000 for that package with an on-air, online, and mobile announcement. He factors the mobile part of that package at about $1,500. And the last way is to send out a message completely just about the advertiser. So reply to this message with deals to opt in to get offers from this restaurant chain. This is something I want to talk about a little further, because I have an example from this local market of how they're using this. 15 franchisees of a major restaurant chain, a national chain, local franchisees in one market, in this market we're talking about here, banded together for a mobile marketing campaign. They wanted to build an SMS database very similar to what DeSalvo's had done, but they're going to leverage traditional media in order to do it. So in the campaign, let's go forward with this. They have 150,000 web impressions. They send to 68,000 emails, 30,000 SMS, and a little bit of radio. Let me go back to this. Let's talk about email and SMS for a moment. That message, the last example we're talking about here, a blast sent just about the advertiser. The sales manager at the station said he can send out crappy messages every once in a while to his email database. People don't really opt out. It's okay. You can have a so-so offer. It's not going to be the end of the world. You send one crappy message, these are his words, not mine, one crappy message on a cell phone via SMS, people start opting out in droves. You cannot use this kind of an alert to an addressable database of people who've subscribed for alerts, the way Connie was talking about. You can't use it to send mediocre offers. You won't have a database. So this is the campaign that they ran. They started this a month ago. I have statistics for the results for the first 2 weeks. In the first 2 weeks, they had 1,000 people opt in. These are not people who saw the message at the restaurant. These are people that heard about the message in one of these other channels. These could be new customers. Probably it's a national chain. Some have probably eaten there before. But this isn't a result of a regular, necessarily. Now I said, well, how many, what drove the majority of the opt-ins? And he said 60% of the opt-ins came from SMS. So we're in an era where the most effective medium on the board is SMS. And then you go back to the example with DeSalvo's and how they're using these messages. Once they have a database, they're generating cash flow. We've been in a recession for several years now, and businesses in the local markets are hurting for revenue. And one example, Mark tells me he's never had anything to drive foot traffic into his business the way SMS does, until now. So what does this mean for you? You're selling traditional media, you're selling online media, and now you're starting to sell mobile media. You have relationships with local businesses, and you can solidify this relationship in a way that builds loyalty like nothing else ever has before. It's about shared responsibility. You start the campaign, you get them excited, you build a list, you market to that list, you explain to them that they will have more success when they use this keyword and short code in other media. This example is of a national restaurant. It's clear, the sales manager for this campaign said, I see your ads on TV, I see them in the paper, I see your direct mail coupons, put the code everywhere. Put them on flyers, put them in your signage in the windows, use it all over the place. Well, this is not a message that people are accustomed to hearing from anyone in media. Share it, use it. I know you advertise. Let's go forth and build the biggest database possible. And the advertiser was surprised. What do you mean? What do you mean you want me to spend on TV? He goes, I know you're doing it anyway. Just use the code. So what happens is when this advertiser uses the code in all the other media, and that 1,000 turns into 20,000, and he's generating revenue very consistently, several times a week, he's going to remember who sold it to him in the first place. And that's where you want to be.